are fans of the current series of Doctor Who, and on this podcast, we discuss our likes, dislikes, and insights of the modern regeneration of the show. Today's episode is episode 12, Bad Wolf. We venture back to Satellite 5 and discover that reality shows can indeed get worse. This episode is written by Russell T. Davis, directed by Joe Ahern, and it first aired on the 11th of June 2005. The viewership was 6.81 million viewers, the lowest of the series.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
Very strange, huh?
Yeah, especially since it's the second to last episode of the season.
I don't know what's going on with those Brits, but all right, let's go around the table.
Hi, everyone. This is Kelsey.
Hey, this is Josh.
Hi, this is Auburn.
And this is Arlene.
Hello, this is Frank.
Hi, this is Brian.
And this is Eugene. The Doctor, Rose, and Jack are abducted from the TARDIS by a transmat beam and find themselves as contestants in different reality shows. The Doctor is a house guest on Big Brother, Rose is on The Weakest Link with the Android, and Captain Jack is on the makeover show, What Not to Wear. I find it, go ahead. I was going to say that they fought kind of hard to get the Big Brother stuff. The director, Joe, he wanted like the logo, the music, the set, the diary chair, and they even got Davina McCall, the voice of Big Brother UK.
Because it's not a BBC show.
Yeah,
it's on Channel 4.
Channel 4.
It later moved to Channel 5, but so they got the equivalent of ABC agreeing to air something on CBS.
So I think that was worth pointing out, even though we don't really know about it, but that's kind of cool.
There's a very different opening to a show. I mean, it's such a comic opening. You almost see the Doctor doing a whole facepalm kind of,
right.
What is going on? You got to be kidding. And Rose is just laughing about this whole situation. And then, of course, Jack loves being naked in front of millions of viewers. So it just had such an odd opening, a whole different flavor to the show. I mean, such a comic twist to it.
And I wonder, because I know that's also the theme music for Big Brother.
Yes, they fought to get that too.
Yeah, so I think maybe the theme music kind of dictated what kind of a mood to have the opening in. Because
to me, it makes you think, like, as a viewer in the UK, you're flipping through channels and then you hear Big Brother, but on a different channel, and you're like, what's going on? So I don't know.
Well, I wanted to stay to find out what was going on because it was such a different,
opening
introduction to
yeah.
it. Like, okay, where are they going to go with this episode?
Maybe that's why it had the lowest ratings. They
thought it was a
flipped to
different
it,
channel?
yeah, temporarily, and thought
maybe.
it was Big Brother.
Didn't they also say that this was the night that a season of Big Brother premiered on Channel 4?
It was the same.
It was at the same time
around the
period.
same time. So maybe that's why.
And what year was it?
2005.
Yeah. It was weird because when I originally saw this episode, it was years later, so I didn't immediately realize that these were the shows. These were even shows. I was like, oh yeah, the week. I think my original reaction was, why are they doing this show? Like, because The Weakest Link was the only one I really recognized, because that was over and done in America by then.
Oh yeah. All right. We discovered that reality shows have changed over time. If you are voted off, lose, or quit the game, you are quickly killed.
I wish that happened now.
Rose watches a woman she helped vote off, and she's disintegrated right in front of her by the android. Roderick, a fellow contestant, tells Rose that all the games are run by the Bad Wolf Corporation. Roderick wants to keep Rose in the game so he can beat her in the end and live.
And get all the money. He's very interested in the money, too.
As he should be, because he's a contestant.
And that's also Anne Robinson's voice.
Yes.
For the android.
Yes.
That's funny.
So it is the actual host for The Weakest Link.
And the guy playing Roderick is Patterson Joseph, and I recognized him from another UK show called Peep Show. It was just great to see him in something else.
I'm sure his mother was happy, too.
Yeah. He played Johnson on the Peep Show, or Peep Show.
I was kind of bothered with Rose's laughing before somebody got disintegrated.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it didn't even seem quite in character, and maybe it is just a British thing. Like, those shows might be just more ingrained into their culture.
The absurdity of it all. She's like,
I would laugh too. You just got pulled off the TARDIS, don't know what, and you're put into this game.
Yeah.
And it's a game, and everybody's reaction is so overblown, all the other contestants. In the ones that we watched today, it is as if you would be dying if you left the show.
Yeah.
And that's not the case. And it's just so overacted, overblown. And so she's just having fun with it.
On top of she's being asked questions which are absurd.
Which she knows she can't answer. She doesn't have a reference for this. So I like that part. This is just crazy. But one part that I don't understand is that when Rose is laughing, they cut to somebody, the woman controller or the woman worker in the station, saying,
The stage manager. That one?
No.
Oh, the one in
up on the
on
floor 500.
Yeah.
Okay, gotcha.
And she says,
She knows.
She knows.
I
She's
think she
figured it
knows. But they never come back to it. And that always bugs me. Because
Yeah.
what? What does she know?
Oh.
Because later on, I mean, we'll talk about it later, what the secrets are. But it doesn't seem like that woman knows those secrets. So I want to know what it is that she's referring to. Was there something cut out of the script? It just seemed...
And this is while Rose was still chuckling?
Yes.
Yeah.
From the very, very beginning.
I noticed that too. That bothered me as well.
They're-
Because I was
I
expecting
just
it
wanna
to
know.
come back, or
Right.
I don't know. Yeah, what does Rose?
Yeah,
what does
it's-
she think Rose knows?
It's the Indian woman.
Yeah.
Next to
They never
yeah,
had... The characters don't have names.
I don't
Ever?
remember. I
Yeah.
don't remember.
Wow.
They're credited
No,
as
no,
man and woman.
But I thought the one guy introduces himself to Jack near the end.
That's different. I don't remember.
He does.
Oh well.
Maybe it's so he gets a name in the
The
next
second episode.
In this one, he doesn't have a name yet. That could be.
Yeah, that could-
Maybe she was just referring to like Rose knows something we don't know.
But the way
Secret
she
to
said
life
it,
type
I
thing.
think she knows. So it was like
was
she's
she
in
maybe
on
saying,
something.
does she know she knows the answer?
No, she doesn't.
Because the other guy was asking, why is she laughing? Doesn't she know the weight of this, that you're going to get killed? I mean, everybody watches the shows. Everybody knows that part of it. And so this woman saying, I think she knows, didn't make sense to me. It's like, what? Why would Rose be laughing? What does she know that none of the other contestants had?
And
Yeah.
she seemed worried too that she knew.
Right.
So it's like.
So
all right.
Russell, if you're out there, we'd like to know.
What was cut from the show?
Maybe
What
it
are
was
you
just
planning on?
Yeah, maybe it was just a red herring, like just to throw the audience off.
Add tension before the opening
Or to say
credits.
something else is going on, just to give that information that something's going on.
To seed the mystery or whatever.
Yeah.
Okay, so the doctor no, go ahead.
Before, the doctor's meeting the other contestants that are
In the
in
house.
the house, and one of them, Linda asks, "Do people like me? Well, who's watching? What is it like?" And it's like that's the main point
Purpose,
that she's talking about. That would be the same today as it was then.
Oh yeah, because as you guys know that work in reality, things can be changed.
Oh,
in the
yes.
editing floor, room.
What?
Well, I thought also during that, the doctor ends up lying to her about how well received she is. Oh, you're the sweet one. But he's making that up at that point. And I know the doctor
Right.
lies, but
I think
It
he's
was
just
just a
doing it to
little-
like, I'm busy.
That's
Yeah.
not the important thing.
Placate,
And he had to kind
yeah.
of, that's not important, but fine. Yes, everybody loves you. Great. Now let's move
Moving
on
on,
to what
moving
I'm
on.
doing here.
Yeah.
He could have been rude, but he was kind.
No, it was
Right.
So-
it was
Right.
a
The
good
sweet
it was
one.
a good way to brush her off, sort of, in a nice way. The doctor decides that if something powerful enough to pull him from the TARDIS wanted him dead, they would have just killed him instead of placing him in the game. He destroys a camera in order to be evicted and discovers that he was right. The disintegration beam doesn't function. Whatever brought him here wants him alive. He asks the other contestant to come with him. Linda Moss, that's Linda with a Y, agrees that they break out of the game, and they break out of the game to discover they are on Satellite 5.
Before you go on,
Yes.
when he's examining the Big Brother house, and he goes to the door and he tries to open the door, Linda with a Y says that it's deadlocked. That is the first reference to deadlock,
in this series.
I think, ever.
Hold on.
Explain what the deadlock is.
Deadlock is where the sonic screwdriver can't unlock something. It's sealed even beyond the sonic's capacity, and they use it all the time going forward.
You're right. This is the first time it's ever mentioned because it's mentioned again. Sorry. So
Yeah.
Which is pretty cool because in watching all the Doctor Who episodes that I've watched, I never paid attention to that.
Yeah, me neither.
I'm like, oh, that's what that means.
But so like in the future, he'll be doing something and it won't work, and he's like, "Oh, it's deadlocked."
yeah.
Yeah. Whenever they don't want this sonic to be the device that
Right,
fixes
right.
everything,
Well, then then maybe they should have They shouldn't have started making it the device that I can't talk. You know what I was gonna say?
Deus Ex Sonica.
Yeah.
Well, the deadlock seal appears again in the school reunion, Evolution of the Daleks, and 42. So we'll see that later.
Jackie Robinson movie.
But the word transmat was used as shorthand for matter transmission in The Ark in Space in 1975 with Tom Baker.
Oh, that's a good one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a trash bag episode.
It's the trash bag episode, yeah.
Now the fact that they're visiting Satellite 5 again in timeline, is it taking place after or before the last episode we were there?
It's 100 years later.
years
100
after.
years later. Okay.
Yeah, the episode opens up with a recap of
Right.
Adam and his
the long game,
wackiness.
and then cuts and says 100 years later.
It does say that. Okay.
Yes.
I liked when he was asking the other contestants to come with them. You know, it's like, well, you have a 50-50 chance to
Of
live,
here.
or you can come with me with better odds. And what he says to Linda, I thought was great. It's like, Linda, you're the sweet one. No one votes for the sweet one. She's out of there. I just thought that was a great little line.
So Linda tells the doctor that no one has called it Satellite 5 since it was a news satellite 100 years ago. One day, all the news just stopped broadcasting, which led to panic on Earth. The Bad Wolf Corporation took over the satellite and renamed it the Game Station. The doctor realizes that in his attempt to place humanity back on track, somehow he caused this instead.
Yeah, so 100 years ago, it was off track because of the Jaggerfist. And he thought he corrected it. I mean, he's getting the idea. Everything he does affects so much. You know, he thought he fixed it. He thought he had set it on track. And he doesn't know what happened. Why is it wrong again? What's about this satellite and what's about this period of time that just keeps going off track?
Yeah, I agree.
We find out, but I mean,
Well,
that's
yes, we
you know,
will
building
find
on
out.
the other episode, the long game, plus this. There's something about what's going on now.
Well, and I think that ties in nicely this season. You know, we've had a few times when people have accused him of being godlike or having these huge powers. And so if he was a god, he kind of set this into motion and then just went away,
Right.
you know, and didn't even bother to check in for 100 years. So it's kind of, you know, his own conscious that's been one of the themes this season is, what are you doing and what are the repercussions of that? And I liked, how, you know, he thought he left them good and he ended up plunging them worse,
guilt
farther
he's
away.
living
Yeah.
Yeah, you definitely can see that in his eyes or in his face, that there's the guilt of, I caused this without even
Yeah.
trying to.
Meaning
without
to,
thinking.
yeah.
Another section that happens here is you get an idea that Linda could be another companion.
Oh, absolutely.
They start
yeah.
talking and she's like, well, maybe I can travel with you. And he actually looks at her and goes,
Yeah, I
there's
think
something about you. You have a brain and a quirky way of looking things. But he liked it. It's like, okay, wait a minute. Is this going to be another companion? Where's Rose again? What game is she on?
I wanted to point out that the doctor, no, not that doctor, Rose is in The Weakest Link, which is, it looks like a very simple set because it's mostly just like close-ups of the contestants with a black, dark background.
And that's what the show was.
Yeah, I think they
They didn't
saved...
show the audience over there?
No, they didn't.
Mm-hmm.
And I think they saved some money that way to do all the effects on this game station. I think it's very simple. And like even with the doctor being in a dark room with the diary chair, that's very simple too. So they're finding ways to build up to the other
Well, the
effects.
diary room chair, I believe, is the diary room chair from the real
Yes.
show.
Yeah.
They just used the exact thing.
Yeah, I think they went to the set or something.
Oh, yeah.
They got no, I don't think they went to
No?
the set,
Okay.
but they got everything, even the announcer, even the woman who
Yeah,
says,
Davina.
"Doctor, please report to the diary room."
Yeah,
is
Davina McCall.
the British Julie Chen.
Oh, that's funny. I thought she says, please report to the dining room.
No.
That's
And
what I
was
heard,
so
too.
confused when he went inside. I was like, this is the oddest looking dining room I've ever seen. This
This is a
crazy
completely
Brits.
different show.
Have you never seen the show?
I've never seen either British
Any
or
version?
American version. No.
If only these
Weird
people
dining
spoke English.
Proper English. John Barrowman's butt shot was also cut out of this episode. When he
It
gets
is
his
still a children's show, so
yeah.
Somebody's
sad.
got
It's a
that.
family show.
Somebody's got that footage somewhere.
It was by BBC.
John,
I
yeah,
think
See,
John
that's
has
why
that
the
footage.
ratings went down.
Because they knew
Because
that happened.
he said, hey, your viewership just went up. But it really didn't. Because they cut it off.
Also, with all the references, you know, the Linda says the Bad Wolf Corporation takes it over, and Roderick, doesn't he say to Rose, Bad Wolf runs everything? So we have all these Bad Wolf references, and Rose is beginning to figure out, and the Doctor, now they're not ignoring it anymore.
Yeah.
I also love right at that moment, we get another reference for the very first time.
Very first time.
Yeah. One of the questions,
Or
the answer
to a question.
the answer to a question references Torchwood.
This is the first mention.
And
of
that's the
Torchwood.
first mention of Torchwood. Not that it might I don't know if it's going to mean anything, but
But just keep that in their back pocket.
so even in the season before, Russell had plans.
Yeah. Well, just like the long game, which we covered earlier.
Russell's playing the long game.
Yeah. Which we covered earlier. Some of us were wondering what's behind all of this, and here we're going to find out, hopefully. No one working on the station knows where these three strangers, meaning the Doctor, Rose, and Jack, have come from or how they arrived in the games. Seeing that some of these strangers have left the games, two of the station workers go to the controller for answers. The controller is a woman who is physically hooked into all the games on the station. She tells them nothing is wrong and orders them to return to work. They need to prepare for the approaching solar flares.
And that's the second time the solar flares were mentioned in this episode. Another time was producer for The Weakest Link said the solar flares are
Yes,
coming.
so pay
So
attention.
just subtly put it in there, but it's a big plot point.
Yeah. Jack is having a great time on his game show, and he's trying on all these new clothes, and sometimes not any clothes at all. Until the two robot hosts want him to try on a new head. He pulls a compact laser out of from behind him and destroys them. He then alters the defabricator device into a powerful weapon and leaves to find the others. After locating the Doctor and Linda with a Y, they discover that Rose is the weakest link in the Weakest Link game. They break onto the set just
Before you
in
get there.
time.
Just a couple little tidbits, sorry.
You're stopping him now?
I know. Well, he kept talking. The two robots in What Not to Wear are the voices of the actual What Not to
Oh
Wear
yeah.
hosts. So they got them. And also I liked the Doctor, Linda with a Y tells the Doctor that the news stopped 100 years ago. Nobody knows what
Like,
happened.
you were there 100 years ago?
Yes. And the Doctor says it was me. I did it. And she's like, how could you have been here 100 years ago? And he says, I moisturize.
It's a
Always,
callback.
it always reminds me of Cassandra.
Well, it is a callback to the end of the world.
Now back to where we left off.
Well, that scene,
Or not.
Well, I just wanted to mention that I really like that scene where the Doctor's getting more and more frustrated because he realizes that the stakes of losing Rose are great at this moment, but at the same time, him and Jack are working in such tandem, but the Doctor's frustrated the whole time. And it kind of seems like he's frustrated at Jack, but everything that Jack is doing in that scene is helping the Doctor. I just thought that was I just love that scene. Like, it's so dramatic, and I feel like it was just like, as a viewer, I'm watching it, and I'm like, yeah, Jack, what are you doing distracting the Doctor? Oh, you're helping the Doctor. Oh, okay, that's cool. Stop. Oh, no, you're helping him. Oh, that's really cool. Like, it was just neat seeing the two of them working as such a good team.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, because they're at that computer panel, and he pulls it off the panel, and then he gives the Doctor the vortex manipulator to try to help track
doesn't
Oh, that's right. He
and
does
it's
do
not
that, yeah.
compatible. So it's like he's helping, but yet doesn't go anywhere.
But it's great that it shows that he's a good companion. He's
Yeah.
always there to support the Doctor. When the Doctor's trying to pull it off, he's there to help him. Boom. Okay, that's done. What do you need?
Yeah.
And I didn't see it as him being upset at Jack.
It's just
I never
that
got
things
but it
weren't
just-
working.
Things weren't working right, so he was getting upset.
Right. I was just saying, as a viewer, I was thinking that at
Right.
first, but then realizing, oh no, Jack is like
He's
being
trying.
really
Yeah.
helpful in
Yes.
this, and like if
He's
he
a good
wasn't
companion.
there, yeah.
Oh, also, John Barrowman had his hair longer because if they needed to do reshoots, he could style his hair older, like in the World War II episode. I'm blanking my mind.
Oh, right. Okay.
So that's why his hair looks a little longer. If you ever
Then when?
Empty
In the
child.
last
Didn't
episode?
notice that.
it's
That was looking at his hair.
No,
Boomtown?
none of his clothes were
yeah.
off.
I think it's part of Boomtown and the Doctor dances, just in case.
Well, Dr. Dances, it was a lot shorter because that was the whole World War II style. But in Boomtown, he was a lot
That's
more.
Boomtown then, because he did mention that just in case he needed to do reshoots on this other episode, he needed to keep his hair long, so that's why it looks that way.
I liked at the beginning, going way back, that they had all mentioned that they dropped off and went to Mexico or
Yeah.
Gulf Laboratorius and dropped off the egg.
The egg.
That we did that. Then we did.
Something else, some other adventures.
They were in
we just
Japan,
took-
weren't they?
Huh?
Japan? In
Yeah,
like
they went
the
to
13th
Japan.
century.
Yeah, 1336, Japan.
Kyoto.
And then like, I want to see those adventures.
I can see where they wanted to tie in the hair because didn't seem like a long period of their time.
But
This
yeah,
happens.
so that explains that. If anybody else is wondering, other than me,
No one else is one.
No.
I figured. So they discover that Rose is on the weakest link and is the weakest link in the game, They break onto the set just in time to see Rose lose her final round and be disintegrated by a beam from the android
But first she runs towards the doctor.
in a defiance
And
of the game.
Well, no, in
No.
desperation to be saved. 'Cause
Yeah.
finally the game, and
Yeah.
now she's going to run towards him, and everyone's like, yeah. And then,
That kind of
and then,
confused me.
gasp.
That moment, though, where she...
So
so dramatic.
Yeah.
Was she trying to save the doctor, or she was just trying to run
No.
to the
She
She
doctor?
was
getting
just
away
trying
from him.
to
She's
get
getting away.
saved.
Yeah.
You can see the desperation on Billy Piper's
Yeah.
face. It was just like,
It was
there
so
he is,
good.
the savior, and yet I can't
And the
get there.
audience, you don't see it coming because how many times has Rose been in that
Right.
position
Situation, yeah.
where the last minute the doctor comes in and saves her and everything's great, and so you're like, yeah, go Rose, and then she gets the stingray and it's just so. I was just like,
This can't be it.
yeah, it's so good.
I kept thinking of the Dalek episode where the Dalek shoots, and then you think Rose is dead, but he actually shot to the side of her, and like, you fooled us once. Fooled us again. We'll see.
See, I don't know. Like, I don't really care for Rose as a character. So when I saw her get disintegrated, I was like, eh. But then
Oh.
seeing the doctor's reaction
Yes.
to it, that's
Oh.
when I was like, that's so sad.
The way they covered that is amazing because they mute all the other sounds that are
Yeah.
happening on set, and it's just like this muffled audio track, and then you just like are focused on the Christopher Eccleston's reaction. And
And I thought
face.
the
I think you
lighting
do-
was great because
Huh?
it showed only half his face because the
Oh, yeah,
background's
the
dark and then
shadows.
the shadow
Yeah.
of his face. The lighting I thought was
Mhm.
excellent on that.
You do hear Jack going nuts.
you do, but it's
And
muffled.
he
it's
says,
muffled.
but he says freaking, which I love. It's like, okay, I know that's a polite term for a bad word, but it's still referencing a bad. You know, I'm
yeah.
still kind of surprised that they put freaking in there.
It's
Well, it's
very
very
American.
American.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like there's some words though, that we don't say here that they just throw left and right.
That's
True.
right, I forget Jack is American. I keep
Yeah.
forgetting that.
Now, the doctor, Jack, and Linda are arrested, but quickly overpower the guards and escape. They make their way.
They're going to the lunar penal colony, by the way. That's
right.
a callback.
Yeah,
That's a callback to the Third Doctor.
hmm
Yeah, with the story with the Master.
that's right. The master. Yeah.
Yeah, I was going to look up the name of it, but it was kind of a boring one.
Oh well.
Oh, just a side note, I love Linda. Like
Oh, yeah.
when
Love
they
Linda.
get arrested,
I don't think we're in disagreement
she's
on
not
that.
there going, oh my gosh, what's gonna happen? She's like right there with them. They break out. She grabs some weapons, and she's in the elevator with them. And I'm like, yeah, go Linda.
It's like she could come in to be a companion. she's
Yeah,
ready.
she's
for that.
totally-
Arlene's
holding
already
her
got
own.
her moving into Rose's room.
I do. I'm like, let's go.
She's blonde. She's British. What else do you need?
Well, I think that's sort of what they were trying to go for, like to fake us into thinking Rose was gone, and then here this gal will take her place.
Just
I
step
think
right
they
in.
were intentionally doing that. yeah.
Right.
Such a weird thing if that would have happened. Like Rose, Linda. Oh, moving on.
No, but back to the lunar
Penal
penal,
colony.
colony. So it's a prison.
Mhm.
Which moon is it?
Our moon.
It's our moon.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's just a prison that's on the moon.
Is it referred to again?
I don't think so.
Okay.
I'm not sure. But yeah, I mean, it is definitely a callback to that previous Third Doctor episode. Do they mention them? I don't think they mention
I
Lunar
don't
Penal
think
Colony
so.
again.
Not again. It's just a nice throwback to the fans.
Okay.
You know,
Just
like
curious.
continuity wise. All right, so our trio make their way to floor 500, which is still the control center for the station. After securing the floor, Jack accesses Archive 6, a room the controller recently blocked anyone from entering.
Before you go on, I love that when they enter the floor 500, I remember just recently watching this one and going, wait, the Doctor's got a gun.
He's got
That's
the
a big
biggest
deal.
gun.
He's got the
Yeah,
Yeah,
he's got the
Makeshift defabricator.
defabricator. That's
yeah,
it.
and I'm like, wait, they have the Doctor with a gun, and then they have the whole thing where it's like I'm gonna shoot,
And he throws
and
it
he
to
throws
them.
it away
Yeah.
to the bad guy. It's like, oh, I love this Doctor.
And then he's like, I have the gun. Can I put it down? Like, yeah, whatever. Put it down.
I like
Do what
that
you want.
part. That
Yeah.
was good.
But that's
Just
almost
for
like
her. Just for her.
you could say that it's like that is a moment,
A character moment.
a character
Oh,
moment
yeah,
of the
absolutely.
Doctor that just you could boil it down to, like I'm gonna shoot.
Yeah.
It's just great.
And just as a reminder, has the Doctor always been anti-guns, or is this in this new series that we see him? And is it because of the war that he just went through that he's like,
It's,
He's
like guns
he's never
anymore.
liked guns, but he's never
he's never had one.
he's never really. Yeah, I don't think he hates them. Not like he does now. Well, and not to break the timeline, but not like he hates them with Tenet. But because we've seen this doctor with a gun before. He had a gun and he was going to shoot the Dalek. And Rose calmed him down and said, "You're not like this." I think the previous incarnations of the Doctor went through various stages. I don't think they hated guns.
I just don't think they ever used them because that wasn't the show.
Yeah,
That's
exactly. I mean, Unit had guns,
Mm-hmm.
and he never complained when the military people around him used their guns.
Yeah, that was the third Doctor.
And fourth.
And fourth.
Yeah.
And Jack had another good line with, "Do I look like an out of bounds kind of guy?"
I don't know. The way he holds those two guns looks very
but it
weird
was-
to me. Yeah, I know.
And Jack has a key to the TARDIS.
Yes,
He's already an official companion. You have a key to the... Well,
You think he probably got that in Japan?
I was like, well, he picked that up rather quick. So...
Also here, in this control room, we have a bunch of those blue lights that I love to mention so much. Just for anybody else who's missing.
Hey,
that.
just think, where was that key if he already had the gun?
Oh my God.
Before we dwell on that too long, Jack accesses Archive 6. There he finds the TARDIS, and
He
with
was
its
keeping
help...
it in his penal colony.
I'll edit that out.
Would you like to take that back?
I didn't like that lull. Edit that lull out also. Jack discovers that the disintegration beam is really a secondary transmat beam. The solar flares have reached the station, shielding the controller from those that she is forced to serve. For a few moments, she can speak freely. The controller tells the Doctor that she is the one who placed them in the games. She hid them there because her masters do not monitor the games directly, and she needs his help to stop them. They have been manipulating the planet into complacency for hundreds and hundreds of years, during which time they have strengthened in numbers.
One might say they're playing a long game.
Some might.
Hundreds and hundreds of years? I thought this was only...
But they set up the
They set up the-
Jagrafex.
It started before that.
Gotcha.
Yeah. They've been slowly and quietly manipulating and gaining in power and stuff. Which is why the fourth great and bountiful human empire never happened. Because they've been manipulating things for so long.
Well, didn't we get a reference of it with the Shakespeare episode?
Wait, how would that?
Like she says "bad wolf" at the very end.
You mean the Dickens episode?
Dickens.
Charles
says
Dickens.
it,
Okay,
not
yeah,
what are you
Shakespeare.
talking
Well, I don't know what Shakespeare. Dickens.
Yeah, there is a Bad Wolf reference there.
So
There's a bit of the big god.
Does that mean that they were kind
That's
of...
something different. The Bad Wolf reference happening for hundreds and hundreds of years is something different. We're getting to that soon. But
that's the same,
long game.
Message?
the doctor was, well, that's in the next episode, but he makes the same conclusion that Arlene just made,
Yes.
that the bad wolf is tied to this.
Yes.
Yes.
We find out it's not.
Yeah.
Next episode.
The solar flares subside, and the controller goes quiet. Jack,
And isn't this point? Has the doctor talked to the two workers yet? Because the doctor says to them,
I think he
you
has.
know, you've been killing people for 100 years. You just disintegrate them left and right.
So I don't care what you think.
Well,
I think is what he says.
they say we're just doing our jobs,
Yeah.
and he says you've lost the right to talk to me.
Yeah.
I love that line. You've just lost the right to talk to me. It's
Yeah, that was
just
right
great.
before the controller, because she had
Was it
the
right before?
female programmer says, "Doctor," and he goes, "I'm not talking to you." He goes,
Yeah.
"No, I think she wants to talk to you." And so,
Yeah.
so it was right after he
Because
said
she says like slowly or quietly, "Doctor."
Yeah, and it's another doctor moment where it's like, I don't use guns, and you're just following orders. Get away from me. Just love that.
I felt so bad for the controller. I mean, she's been this way since 5.
Yeah.
And that suit of hers looks painful. Like it's got these holes and like where she can plug into.
Although her hairstyle is awesome. When you see it later, it's all twirled up.
Yeah.
It's just, oh my god, it must have taken them forever to do that.
When they did when Jack figures out what happened and he tests the transmat beam on Linda with a Y, I think it's funny how she puts out her right foot in a weird like
Right.
I'm uncomfortable.
Oh, I didn't notice that.
And then when she comes back, it's the same way.
Oh,
So
really?
I think it's like to
Yeah.
clue us in that she's okay.
Well, also, if you're going to do that, Jack, please don't make me think I'm being disintegrated. Let me know first.
Right. Jack returns and tells the others about the secondary transmat beam. Rose is alive and has been transported somewhere. Even knowing that her masters can hear her, the controller tells the doctor the coordinates of Rose's location before being transported to her master's ship and killed.
Well, that's she tells most of the coordinates before they
Yeah.
take her away, which I mean that's big defiance. I mean,
Yeah.
she's been trying to get this together,
Secretly,
get the doctor there,
yeah.
and it's like, I got to get this part done. I've got to stop this. And that's when the male controller figures out the rest of the coordinates
Yes.
to help go, okay, everything seems to be going to this one spot just outside the solar system.
And we get the first image, I guess, of a full image, but it's in a reflection of who the masters are. Did you guys catch
Yeah.
that?
You know,
I
the
thought
first
that-
time we see them with Rose, we see from their
POV.
POV. From the second with the controllers, it's a reflection.
And I think that's covered
Brilliant.
very well, the way they set up,
Great
stage
reveal.
that. Yeah.
So, yeah, read the rest so we can tell who it is. Because even now, it's like that suspense
Yeah.
going really well.
As the doctor finishes inputting the coordinates to Rose's location, we see Rose wake up on that spaceship. She gets her first look at the Masters. The ones behind it all and who are playing the long game are the Daleks.
I know. I saw the promo last week.
I know that kind of.
Oh, that was terrible.
Is that something that like when Davey saw that?
He was very angry.
Yeah.
Yeah.
At this point, I don't know exactly, but are we shown the fleet of the...
Yes, because
We
when
are?
they
Okay.
find the location, they were able to do the whole Star Trek. Oh, we can watch the end of the solar system from here, and see it.
Yeah,
And
they were
see-
using the station transmission to hide to
hide themselves.
Right,
to
but-
put a false
but
image. So they
cloak
turned that
themselves.
off.
Or to cloak themselves, if
Cloak
we're going
them,
to
yeah.
Star Trek
So they
terms.
they just
Right, so
said
they all see it. Jack sees it, knows and recognizes the ships. The Doctor.
yeah. People
recognizes
know who
it,
the
and-
Daleks are.
Well, I like the location because it's the Horsehead Nebula. I don't know if anybody
Yeah, that's
recognizes
not
that.
at the edge of the solar system, but
I'm just saying.
why
It's
why be
cool. It's
picky?
in the Orion constellation.
Yeah, I know, but
1,500 light years
that's
away from
fine.
Earth. Discovered by Barney.
I didn't hear his.
We're
I
going.
wanna follow-
We're
let's
going.
care about
We're
that.
going full geek.
It's also called Barnard 33 after the Scottish guy that found it. So Scottish is coming back into the Doctor Who thing going on here.
Okay.
Move on, Dr. Tyson.
Question.
Yes.
Do we find out in the next episode, the continuation of this episode, where everyone else has been trans? Why they're
Yes,
not
we do.
being killed, but they're
Yes.
just being okay.
Yeah.
Answer, yes.
All right. Okay.
The Daleks open communication with the station, showing their massive fleet and that they have Rose. They tell the Doctor not to intervene with their plans or they will exterminate his companion. All seems lost when the Doctor replies, no. He takes complete control of the situation and tells the Daleks that he will save Rose right from under them and then proceed to wipe them out of existence. He shuts down the communication and the Daleks initiate a full-scale attack on Earth.
It's so good.
And one little thing for me is the Doctor says no, which
I
is a
love how he says
great dramatic moment. But for me, it also does call back to The Empty Child when he's talking to Nancy and he says, Europe's being overrun and one tiny little island says no.
Yeah.
And that made all the difference.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, it's so well written.
Yeah, it's a great moment. And part of me wants to think, like, what if Linda was the new companion? And he says, no, Linda is my companion.
You can keep her.
When do we find out? Why?
Give me a few minutes and I'll bring her mother to you as well.
Meet Rose Point 2.
She's nice. Do we find out why the Daleks are still around ever?
Yes.
Like what
We
what
will.
he
Next
screwed
episode.
up? Right. I mean, I've seen these actually a few times, and there's so much to remember.
There's a lot in the next episode.
Yeah, so speaking of that, without spoiling too much, the teaser that's it ends with a voice saying they survived through me to Eccleston. I was like, who could that be when I first watched this?
Yeah, me too. I had no idea what
And
that
I was thinking of several things, but I
It's
won't.
the Christ Savior of the Daleks.
You were thinking of Davros, or
Yeah, I don't want to. Yeah, I was thinking of Davros because we saw a Dalek. I was like, is that our first version of Davros in this season or this series now? But we'll find out next
Yeah.
episode.
I mean,
Who's
I remember when
Davros?
we first watched this.
He created the Daleks.
Oh, okay.
Daleks. Whatever.
The Daleks?
Darlex.
The
Daleks.
darling Daleks.
That's my accent.
I remember when we saw this episode for the first time, we had no idea of any other Dalek-y character.
Right.
So it really was like, I have no idea what that
But it
voice
makes me
is.
think of what the classic Who viewers were watching.
Yes,
Were
yeah.
reaction. They're like,
Yeah.
oh, are we going to get Davros?
Yeah.
I don't know.
And apparently there's a lot of that was going on and still goes on, probably even more now. But there's a big deal of people trying to figure out everything before it happens. And so people were like, really, what is the big bad wolf? they were trying to figure that out forever, and other little mysteries that they put in the seasons, fans just go crazy over.
Frontier in Space is where the penal colony was. I'm just-
It's pretty boring.
okay.
Sorry.
I don't know. I'll just.
Your opinion.
Yeah, I know. Just kind of goes on and on and on.
Something else to point out that the face of Bo was a question that Rose got right.
Yes.
Get him back.
Also to point out, now that we've revealed the Daleks, I don't know if this is, again, a British production thing, but in the Big Brother house, there was the single eye with like the universe rotating around it. Is that
You
like
want to take that, Brian?
Yeah, the production company Endomos, I think it is, and Channel 4 made that for Doctor Who.
So that's their logo in the UK.
Is the eye.
But
okay.
they
They put a rotating universe inside the eye and gave it to them. And Russell and Julie act like they had no idea it was going to happen because they're like, it was the greatest thing when we saw it. You know, they really did kind of go above and beyond
It's
and
kind
give
of
them everything.
Yeah, it's kind of like taking the CBS eye, which
Okay.
is where Big Brother runs in the or airs on in the US, and just putting the Starfield behind it.
Yeah,
Okay.
without even being asked.
Yeah.
nice?
Because they didn't know. They said that they didn't. It was all kind of last minute because they did try and they were told no.
Okay.
And then somebody, I don't think it was the director of the episode, but somebody asked again, and suddenly Channel 4 said sure, because episodes had aired by then, so they knew what they were doing and that this was actually a production, a good quality production. So suddenly they were like, sure, yeah, no problem.
I was gonna tie it to the Daleks being the single with the single eye stalk, but
Oh,
I guess
yeah.
that was a false premise. I'm
No,
not
but
gonna-
that still works.
Yeah.
That's fine.
It's that totally still. Wow, I like that.
The controller, played by Nisha Nayar, the actress cast as the female programmer in this episode, previously appeared on one of the an uncredited Red Kang extra in the 1987 classic series Paradise Towers. So this is the second actor to appear in both old or classic and new.
You're talking about the female controller, not the female programmer, not the controller.
Yes, sorry, I'm getting controller, programmer. Yeah,
Just name the people.
yes, because she's not given a name. Like
Right.
I can't call her like Patel or something.
You're just
You can
female
also love the
programmer.
fact that these characters don't even have names, but
We know
Russell,
them.
But Russell gives them a little bit of backstory, and
Yeah,
you know, oh, I like you. Let's go out on a date, kind of a thing. So they're not just there to deliver exposition.
yes,
They're written well and they're acted well.
Yes. Yeah.
They're not just people that can die without you having
Exactly.
a reaction,
A reaction.
Yeah,
Exactly.
or an attachment to.
Not that we say they die.
Before they got Anne Robinson, they were gonna have a celebrity impersonator do her voice.
Oh, really?
And then they got Anne Robinson, so I was like, oh, this person is now out of a job.
But it had to be Anne Robinson. Nobody
yeah.
could do that.
No, not at all.
And the android is just brilliant.
This is the first. This not the first. Maybe this is the first time we hear the Dalek theme, like full on. I think it is because
We didn't hear it in Dalek?
I don't know if we get it, but this is the one with the choir. I don't remember if we got that in Dalek.
But I think we did get the theme in Dalek.
Okay.
Yeah.
But the music that is heard with the Dalek fleet is revealed. It has a chorus singing what is happening, translated from in Hebrew. So,
Really?
Yeah.
Oh,
So I think that's kind of cool.
Wow, that's interesting.
What is happening?
Do you know Hebrew? That's how it is.
No,
Okay.
yeah, that's not.
Never mind.
I do
Remember.
actually.
I'm not okay. I will. Right there.
Oh, it's not. It's in English transliteration, right?
Okay. That's it.
Oh, it's
That's
the phonetics.
Yeah.
so they're saying
It's
that.
Ma-kore.
Oh, I don't.
So they're saying that in the song,
Ma-kore.
not what is happening, because that would
Sure.
sound weird. What is happening?
Doesn't make sense because there's no real K sound in Hebrew.
Oh well, whatever.
Well, how would you say it in Hebrew? How would you say what is happening?
I'm trying to think about like what it would be translated. Like what are the characters that would have been used? So
So back to the Torchwood reference. It is an anagram of Doctor Who. So that's how we got.
Yeah.
Russell Davies got that. Russell T Davies.
Oh.
It was when they were.
Torchwood? Is it?
Is an anagram of
Anagram.
Doctor Who.
Just
It was
rearrange the
also
letters.
their when they
Spell
were.
it out. Go ahead.
And now I'm gonna have to write that down.
It was also their pseudonym when they were filming,
Oh.
so that people were, well, what's filming here? What's filming here? Oh, we're filming Torchwood. So it was their
So
blue sky.
what was the pseudonym when they were filming Torchwood?
Torchwood? Because then the cat
Boy.
was out of the bag by then.
All
so
right.
and even Doctor Who doesn't do it anymore because
Yeah.
you know
Well,
Gee, it's a giant blue box. Yeah, it's
What
Doctor
could
Who.
that be?
So
I like near the end of this episode when the Doctor threatens the Daleks, saying, "I'm coming, I'm going to wipe you out." And they're in, "You have no weapons, no defenses, no plan." He goes, "Yeah, doesn't that scare you to death?"
I love that.
Oh, yeah.
I love it.
He doesn't need those. He's got it.
It's a great cliffhanger because it's both how is that going to happen, and yet I'm pumped to see what happens.
Yes.
this is a great episode for the character
Yeah.
of the Doctor.
Yeah, I agree.
You know, just from the whole beginning where he's just like, what is going on, to I figured this out, you know, now I'm going to solve it. Oh, wait, they've taken Rose.
Yeah, and this is like the Doctor taking charge. It's kind of what we've come to anticipate, and yet
It also,
we're
you
there.
know, it shows where the Doctor, I mean, he always gets involved, but you know how he always says, I just want to observe. I just want to see it. I just want to see
Not
it.
this time.
And but we see why.
Yeah.
You know, it's like, okay, wait, you took my companion, you took my friend. Now I'm involved. You know.
I set this on course again, and you messed that up as well.
Yeah, that's
The
true
whole
too.
space
I have to
station
fix
was
this.
just-
Yeah.
Yeah, I totally have to fix this.
Anything else? All right. So this wraps up Bad Wolf. Join us next time for.
Are we gonna vote?
Oh,
on
well, we got-
if we would?
Yeah, sure,
If
we
this
can
is
vote.
Would we
So
show this to a
yeah,
new
would we
viewer?
recommend this to a new Who viewer? Kelsey.
Oh, okay. Well, yeah. Thinking about this near the end of watching this episode, I was starting to think of this question, and I think I would show it to a new Who viewer. That's a tongue twister. I mean, not like going out of my way to be like, hey, you've never watched it, come watch this episode. But I think if you're someone who's like watching through the series and a friend wants to join you for this particular episode, I think it would be safe for them to join you for this episode.
I
And it
agree.
would be an episode that they would leave wanting to watch more of Doctor Who. So my
Yes,
vote is
I
yes.
agree. Good. Josh.
I agree with that too. I don't think it would be one to show someone, but I do think that if they did sit down with you and watch, like, oh, what are you watching? It would be like, oh, well, how did all this come to be? It might make someone very curious. But I think, but I think because it has all those game show bits, it's not sort of a classic feel of an episode. It's got other stuff in it that feels like the game shows. So I don't think it gives the pure vibe of what the show is. But if someone's open-minded enough, I think it'd make them curious.
Good.
So no-ish.
I'll put you for no then.
All right.
Yeah,
Auburn.
I think I would recommend it. I kind of like the idea that it has the game show and the reality stuff, because that's a nice bridge for a new viewer to, like,
That's true.
it's familiar, but it's also alien, so it puts them. And it's also a pretty good, decent sci-fi episode with all the characters. Rose, Jack. I mean, you get to see Jack stripped a couple of times. Like, I think that would keep most people watching. Yeah. So yeah, yes.
Good.
My
Arlene.
vote.
I
My
kind of agree on the
husband
no-ish kind of thing, because if it was someone who was young, they have no idea what these
Sure,
shows
yeah.
are in particular. So
Yeah.
it's just now it's two foreign things that you have to explain. So, but if someone who's older who's seen, you know, these type of reality shows or these reality shows in particular, they'd be like, oh yeah, that's kind of cool. Well, I can see how they went with this, but it's a no-ish, so
No.
I'll say no.
I'll put you for no. Frank.
For being the first episode to introduce to someone, that's what we're talking about.
Yes.
Correct.
And that, I kept going back and forth. Because of when Rose supposedly dies, you don't have the same investment
Oh, absolutely.
as somebody who's seen other episodes and know the character. But,
But
I'm
the
gonna go
doctor's reaction.
right, but I'm going to
makes
go,
you-
so that's why I'm going to yes, because I think it does show a lot of just the silliness that can be part of the Doctor, which is the whole beginning in going on these game shows. And I think there are enough in our culture where we get the idea of what a reality show is, you know, so even if we're not familiar with these particularly, you get it. And then it goes to the seriousness that can be also the Doctor, and just the emotion that goes along with all that. I would say yes.
All right. Yes,
That
it
you can
is.
show this to somebody for the first one and they can get involved in it and wanting to see where is this going for the next episode.
Brian.
I was going to say no, even though I love this episode, but now I'm going to say yes. Because of that, because of the character. And also rewatching it again, they do give you the prologue of the
previous
the, yeah,
stuff.
the-
Yeah.
yeah, from the long game. And even the Bad Wolf reference, they show brief clips. So maybe maybe this isn't one that if I sat down and said, I'm going to show this episode to you, maybe I wouldn't do that. But this would also be for a person who's just flipping stations and Doctor Who comes on. I could see them watching this and going, "Wow, this is really good."
Yeah.
So I'm going to say yes.
You wouldn't say, no, don't watch this one yet.
Right.
Yes, that's true.
Right. So that's a yes.
Cool. And I would recommend this episode.
Yay.
So that's it.
But I get why you, but I also get,
Now
I also
we can
get why
wrap
you
up.
wouldn't. I
Oh,
also
understood.
totally agree with
Absolutely.
why you wouldn't.
Yeah.
But
Makes
then
sense.
we're
It's a
we're
tricky one.
both no issues, so it's kind of a.
Because it's such a good episode, I think.
But on these, you either have to click yes or click no.
There is no ish.
button.
Because for me,
Binary.
Everything's gray.
for me, the recap in the episode makes it worth recommending to a new Who viewer because I
It's
didn't
a good
recommend
recap.
Father's Day because you don't really get that recap with Rose and the relationship. With here, you can kind of get it. So the ending could still be meaningful.
Because I do think you'd be able to pick it all up.
Yeah,
I
absolutely.
mean, the
Right.
weakest link is just a trivia game.
Yeah.
What not to wear
Yeah,
is
it's all
just silliness.
explained very well.
And also I was kind of surprised at, well, at least from the Doctor's point of view, he's not in the game for very long.
No, he
I
gets that
remember
quick.
thinking, oh, that's the one where they're in the games the whole time. They're not.
Just Rose.
It's just roses, yeah. So it's like, no,
And that's
we can
all
move
thanks
on
to
beyond.
Roderick keeping her because he wants
Yeah.
to beat her at the end.
I mean, that
And
could
I do think it's good that they chose a silly tone for when he's in the game, because then if you're not familiar with the game, you're still getting that this is a little silly. You're not,
Right.
supposed to be completely dramatically invested.
Good. So that wraps up Bad Wolf. Take 2. You've heard our views. We have another potential companion. Do you think Linda with a Y would have been a good addition to Team TARDIS? Email us at whonewpodcast@gmail.com. Join us next time for the conclusion of Series 1 with the parting of the ways.
Yay!
Join us next time when the future becomes the present.
You just listened to an episode of Who Knew.
Our wonderful theme music is by Michael Grady. You can find his work at theuniverseexplodes.com.
You can also find this show in several places. Follow us on Twitter at whonewpodcast.
Subscribe, review, and listen to us on iTunes and Stitcher, or on our YouTube channel, youtube.com/whonewpodcast.
All our episodes are on whonewpodcast.com, and you can leave comments there.
Or email us at whonewpodcast@gmail.com.
This podcast is inspired by Doctor Who, the longest-running sci-fi show in history, and especially the revival spearheaded by Russell T. Davies.
Thanks to Russell, Sidney Newman,
Verity Lambert, Ron Grainer, and all those involved in the adventures of our favorite Time Lord.
Your work continues to inspire and entertain.